So what's up everybody, this video is going to be about Astas' devil arm. I think Astas' devil's arm is going to have a major role in the next story arc in Black Clover, because now that 𝙬𝚑𝚗 and Asta have a good relationship, what is the purpose of Asta having that right arm being devilish-like? There has to be a reason. The devil union doesn't seem to be affected if Asta has a devil arm or not, since they already have that contract. So something tells me moving forward, that arm is going to play a major role into the possible beings that Asta and the crew will encounter. Also, I will talk about how this ties in with the tree of yggdrasil, so let's get into this. First of all, if you like anime, manga reviews, discussion, spoilers, and theories, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, like, comment. So it should hit me with some false copyright strikes. So it would be highly appreciated if you like, comment, and subscribe. Honestly, if it wasn't for you guys, I would have quit. But thank you so much for the love you guys have been giving me. They can't stop me. Keep in mind, I do spoilers for Black Clover. Also, I might start talking a little bit more about One Piece as well. Keep an eye out. I'm currently building a Patreon. So if you want to give support to the channel, all the money is going to be invested back into the channel. So better mics, better editing software, and possibly hiring editors. If I have editors, the more videos I can push out to you guys. So many things I want to talk about and so many ideas I have in my head, but I can't. I'm just one person. So Asta's devil arm is kind of an anomaly, because we've seen devils do contracts with humans. We've seen humans being possessed by devils. We saw Xenon doing a contract with 𝙬𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚝. 𝙬𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚝 gave Xenon a devil heart for his soul. Asta wanted more power from 𝙬𝚑𝚗, so he gave up his right arm when he was fighting against Dante. So with that being said, 𝙬𝚑𝚗 and Asta's relationship has changed so much since that initial fight with Dante. He and 𝙬𝚑𝚗 are on good terms now, but for whatever reason, Asta still has that devil arm. So that leads to tell me that that devil arm is going to play a role in the future. We already seen Asta have issues with his arm before when he was fighting Vito, which ironically he used the devil language. So whatever connection 𝚬𝚘𝚗 is writing there, Asta lost his arms to Vito because he did some type of curse on him. Asta gave up his right arm to 𝙬𝚑𝚗 and he no longer has it. For future arcs, I definitely think Asta is going to go to either the Witch Queen and try to figure out how to get his arm back. And I know that Asta said he gave his arm up to 𝙬𝚑𝚗 fair and square when they were fighting against each other. However, I think it's going to lead into Asta wanting his arm back. I know some people are going to say, hey, no, it's just going to be like that for the rest of the story. That is a possibility, because 𝚬𝚘𝚗 does get inspiration from Berserker, and we do see the main character pretty much having like a mechanical arm, and also the tree of Cliff-Off was in Berserker as well. So yes, I wouldn't be surprised. However, something tells me, because Asta has that right devil arm, I think it's going to cause future complications. Because remember, he only had that devil arm less than a week. Because if it would have been a week, not said that after 7 days or so, the tree of Cliff-Off would have already been completely open and Yami and William Vengeance would have been dead. So Asta's only had this devil arm for 4 or 5 days. But I think this devil arm is going to have him have serious issues in the future. Maybe his body starts rejecting that arm, and it's going to cause him not to be able to actually use his sword. And I could definitely see Asta trying to fix it, which will lead to the Witch Queen being back into the story. I know some people have said the Witch Queen is possibly based on a demon, and that would be really interesting if the Witch Queen is actually possessed by a devil that we did not know from the tree of Cliff-Off, or she has some type of relationship with a devil from the tree of Cliff-Off. However, I don't think she's going to be able to fix and heal Asta's arm, because it is a contract with the devil. So which leads me to believe that there's going to be another being or another level of mana or healing that's going to be able to heal Asta's arm. There's a possibility that angelic beings or beings from a different realm that doesn't have to do with angels, we know per se Judeo-Christianity, but it could be towards Norse mythology. And the reason why I say this is because there's an interesting parallel with Black Clover. We all know that Black Clover in general is heavily influenced by the Kabbalah. The Tree of Light was basically the elf arc. We saw a lot of people got resurrected in that arc. So that arc really represents life. Even when we thought Julius died, he actually lived on. That arc itself was really based on the aspect of the Tree of Life. The second major arc, which is the Devil Possessed Tree of Cliff-Off arc, is based on the Tree of Death, which is another name for the Tree of Cliff-Off. From what we've seen so far, death has been more implied in this arc. Besides 𝚲𝚘𝚙𝚎, let's not talk about him. Let's ignore him for now. Death has been very prevalent in this arc. We've seen supposedly Xenon dying because he gave up his soul to 𝙬𝚘𝚙𝚒 and sliced his heart in half. We assume that Xenon is dead. Also with Dante, from from what it seemed like, Dante was killed off. I'm not entirely sure if it's 100% confirmed, but it looks like Magna defeated Dante and Jack basically butchered the wounded animal. Also, we saw that Noelle's mom, her soul was being held by Magicula, and after Magicula was assumedly defeated, she was finally able to leave the earth in peace. So this arc is mainly focused on the aspect of the afterworld and passing away. The tree of life and the tree of death go hand in hand. The tree of life has to do with angels, angelic properties, and graces. The tree of death has to do with demons and basically toxicity. So when you put those two together, you see there's a clear connection between those two arcs. If you compare the tree of life and the tree of death together, it really looks a lot like the Norse mythology tree of Yggdrasil. The Kabbalah's tree of life and tree of death and the tree of Yggdrasil looks very similar in terms of if you compare them in shape wise. Of course, they have different looks. The tree of Cliffoff or tree of death looks a lot more demonic. The tree of light looks a lot more angelic. However, the reason why I connect these two is because they had elves being used in the part where the tree of life is, and elves originate from Norse mythology. I always wonder, what is the point of that? Are elves being implied to be angels? Because we saw them have a holy golden aura. It makes you think that possibly elves are angels. However, I think that's not the case. I think 𝚤𝚘𝚅 is going to go more with the Norse route in the next arc, and it's going to go with the 9 realms with the tree of Yggdrasil. And this is going to be a little far stretched, but we've seen that elves and devils kind of look alike with the ears. Devils just look like a corrupt version of elves. I think in 𝚤𝚅's interpretation in Norse mythology with Black Clover, I think elves are technically like the light elves and devils are technically the dark elves. I know we've seen a dark elf already. When Patri got possessed by hatred, we saw what happened to him. He became a dark elf. He started using dark light magic, but I think it's going to be different than that. Moving forward with the new arc, the tree of Yggdrasil, it's going to be heavily implied in what might cause Asta to get his arm healed. This is a wild theory, I know, but there's a possibility that somehow there's a way to cut through the dimensions and we start seeing more of the different realms in the Black Clover world. Norse mythology has already been heavily implied in Black Clover. We've literally seen Odin in Black Clover. Twilight of Valhalla, real spell. It had Odin and Valkyrie. Valhalla, which is one of the realms in Norse mythology, which is actually has to do with the tree of Yggdrasil. There's a lot of Valkyries or divine beings in that realm. And I think moving forward, there's going to be something that makes the characters find the tree of Yggdrasil. Somehow they can travel through dimensions and then they're going to find a way to get to Valhalla. They're going to open one of the realms to get to it. And when they find Valhalla, they can actually get somebody to heal Asta's arm. Like I said before, I definitely think elves are not angelic. I think they're just light elves within the Norse mythology. And I think that devils are 𝚤𝚅's interpretation of dark elves, because in Norse mythology, dark elves and light elves, in some texts, they do live in different dimensions. One does live with humans in Midgard and the other one lives in another dimension, which is similar in Black Clover because devils live in the underworld and elves live with the humans. With that being said, Asta going to Valhalla while actually dying, it's a possibility. I'm not saying this is going to happen because I'm not 𝚤𝚅. It's a little bit of reach, I'm not gonna lie, but regardless, there's so much possibility that we will have Valhalla in Black Clover and we will have the 9 realms within Norse mythology and we will see the tree of Yggdrasil. Maybe where the elves are at, or maybe somewhere in the Heart Kingdom, there's probably the tree of Yggdrasil, because we know that they're really close to nature. We're already having so many references to Norse mythology already, so I wouldn't be surprised if it were to happen. But yes, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, let me know what you think about this theory. Do you think Black Clover is going to go more a Norse route moving forward, or do you think they're going to still interpret more things from Judeo-mysticism? Do you think there's a possibility we might see a Leviathan, which actually has origins in Judeo-mysticism? Do you think Asta is going to keep that devil on forever? Do you think we're going to see Odin in Black Clover? Like, if you liked the video, comment, subscribe, and I'm out of here.